Tonight on Sportscorner, the Kent State women's basketball team had their biggest win of the year Saturday. Find out how they did so and what record did one of the Flashes shatter in the game. The Cavaliers look to get the second half of the season off on the right foot against the Memphis Grizzlies. All of this and more coming up as Sportscorner is coming your way right now. From the Franklin Hall studio on the campus of Kent State University, this is Sportscorner. Alongside Liv Sharp, I'm Matt Crowley. Liv, Kent State Gymnastics, I'll tell you what, they just keep on winning.
They absolutely do. They welcomed in Central Michigan and won their meet by the hair of their chinny chin chin.
Well, let's find out how they did so. They took down the Chippewas by the final of 195.350 to 195.300. Their total is second highest of the season. In the first rotation, Nene Alvin opened the meet with an impressive 9.925 on the vault, the joint highest score across any event by Kent State this year. The Golden Flashes will be back in action on Friday at 7 o'clock against Pitt inside the Mack Center before hitting the road to Bowling Green to resume conference play March 2nd at 2.
The Kent State lacrosse team had their home opener against Cincinnati on Sunday. The Flashes started off strong with the game's first goal from the stick of Riley Floyd less than 4 minutes into the game. Unfortunately for Kent State, by the end of the second quarter, the Bearcats outscored the Flashes 4-0, establishing a 6-1 lead by the half. Kent State opened the game with a goal, but the Flashes were not able to keep that momentum going for the rest of the game. By the end, the Flashes were outplayed by Cincinnati for a final score of 15-4. The Flashes are back on the road to face off against Bucknell on Tuesday, before they head back to Dick Stadium for a 3-game series.
Kent State's track and field team had a strong showing at the Ashland University Last Chance meet on Saturday. The Flashes had 5 athletes on the podium. Donovan Crawford came in first for Kent State in the men's weight throw with a distance of 19.05 meters. In the women's weight throw, Kennedy Landris set a personal record with a throw of 17.72 meters, earning her second place. Kent State will compete in the MAC Indoor Championships in Ypsilanti, Michigan, Friday and Saturday.
After a long series, the Kent State baseball team fell to the Mercer Bears 5-7 on Sunday. The Flashes started a rally in the third. Freshman Sawyer Solitaria hit a 2-run RBI into left field. Hunter Klotz followed that up with another RBI later that inning. However, the Bears responded with 3 of their own later in the 4th and 5th. The Bears would take the lead with a run in each inning. The Flashes attempted a comeback in the 9th inning, backing up one more run before falling to Mercer. The Flashes are back in action on Friday afternoon as they take on East Carolina in the LeClaire Classic.
Heading now to softball, the Golden Flashes lost to Troy after a 3-run 6th-inning rally from the Trojans by the final score of 6-4. Kent State will have their final series down south as they will compete in 5 games down in North Carolina from the stretch of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They'll face off against the likes of Harvard, St. Joseph's, and the host Tar Heels.
Kent State faced off against Ball State on Saturday. This marks the 15th consecutive win at the Mack Center. The highlight of the night is the single-season 3-point record being broken by sophomore Maya Babbitt. Babbitt shot 4 for 5 from the range to break the program record. Babbitt now has 72 three-pointers in her career. She entered the 4th quarter 1 away from tying the record, and with 6 minutes remaining, the sophomore tied Melissa DeGrates, who set her record 20 years ago. 4 minutes later, Babbitt splashed a final 3 to break the record. Kent State bested Ball State 60-54. The Flashes will return to the Mack Center on Wednesday as they face off against Northern Illinois.
And on the men's side, they lost a hard-fought battle against the Redhawks in Miami, 96-92 in overtime. 4 Flashes put in double figures with Jalen Sullinger and Delrico Gillespie each contributing a team-high 20 points. For Gillespie, it's a career high. Plus, he also grabbed 12 boards, which is his second double-double of his career. Kent State will return home tomorrow night against Toledo at 7. So, Liv, talking about these two basketball teams, I mean, it's really something that we can expect. Just competitiveness, that's the key frame here at Kent State when it comes to hoops.
Absolutely, especially when we come down that stretch. No matter what happens in your November, December, even your January months, once February comes, something clicks for these teams and they start firing on all cylinders, regardless of any issues they may have had. I know January was a really rough stretch for the men's, and it was kind of looking hopeless for them for a little bit, but they have picked up momentum in February, and they're doing it at the right time because, as we all know, well and good, we're chugging right along towards the MAC tourney.
Yeah, and it feels as though that, especially on the men's side, I mean, gosh, this is a team that you really can't count out because of the fact that they are led by a man in Rob Senderoff who's been here seemingly forever. Forever. In 3 years, he's taken that team to the MAC title game alone. So definitely an impressive resume for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, honestly, when we think back at our time here on Kent State, we are incredibly spoiled. Now, I know that they went to the semifinals our freshman year. They won our sophomore year. Junior year, they were in the title game as an 8 seed. That was a spectacular run for them. I mean, a Linsanity run, really. And there's no telling what they'll do because we don't know, of course, what they'll enter with. There's still a lot left to shake loose as far as tournament seeding goes, but you cannot count this team out. No matter where they're at, they will always find a way to win, and no matter who's on the team, they will always show up for each other, and I think that's really admirable because you see a lot of teams fall apart when they don't have a leader. You see them crumble when they don't have a guy who can always be their constant scorer, but someone has always stepped up for them, and I really like the momentum that they have headed into March.
Yeah, in that 8 seed tournament last year, Toledo, Bowling Green, they took down before eventually losing to Akron on the last second. So let's talk about the women's side of things because this is a team that is coming off a MAC championship and could very well be going back-to-back.
Oh, 100%. I think going back-to-back is absolutely well within their wheelhouse. I mean, the women's side of the tournament, I think, at least in our time here, there's always been some staple big players. You've got Buffalo, you've got BG, Toledo, Ball State, and Kent. Those have been your kind of powerhouses, and that's what we've seen year after year. And I think it speaks very, very well for the Flashes, that win against Ball State. I mean, that was really the gut punch that they needed to continue their momentum because they are 1-1 against Buffalo. They lost their most recent outing, which isn't necessarily what you want to see as we're closing out conference play, but I am very impressed by them. And we all know there are massive superstars here in the MAC. You've got Shalia Watson, you've got Allie Becky, and you know that those girls are going to show up. And so having someone like Maya Babbitt and Jenna Batch who are now showing up for the Flashes, I'm very impressed. And I definitely think they can go back-to-back. What are your thoughts?
And that's a good point because my thoughts are that, like, normally, with a team, especially at the college level, there's a player that the offense runs through. And before the year, a lot of people thought it would be Jenna Batch.
Absolutely.
And in a way, it kind of is. But the depth, I think, was severely underestimated in terms of what this Kent State team can do. They can go in, they can go out, they can control the tempo, and they can really make sure that they can beat you in any way. And with a guy that's coaching them, and Todd Starkey, who's also been here forever.
Yes. How blessed we are to have have our basketball teams have coaches who have just stayed and stuck with it.
Yeah, and it's just the culture that those two guys bring to their teams, and it's just a matter of getting out on the floor, doing your job for 40 minutes, and with the way that culture has been instilled, it's going to be a win.
It absolutely
is.
Going to be all right, so here's my question for you. Matt, how far do you see the men going?
Real quick, because I know we have to go here soon.
We do.
I will say for the men, they will go to at most the second round.
Okay.
Probably getting a win. I would say the women will go to at least a championship game.
I agree. I agree with you completely.
It'll be fun to see how it will go all down in March.
Absolutely. Well, I know we were all enraptured watching the Four Nations, but there's lots of NHL hockey still to play. Stay with us as we take Sports Corner on ice.
We know you work hard, so come spend your lunch with us at the Bistro on Main. Make your breaks count at the Bistro on Main, where friends become family.
Why not crank it? It doesn't hurt anyone else. But listening too long and too loud can actually damage your hearing.
Now, 1 in 5 people 12 and older have some kind of hearing loss. So let's boogie and get those ears checked.
76% of employees have struggled with at least one issue that affected their mental health. When you share, you're not alone.
You think you're just checking your messages or telling a friend you're on your way. They could be the last words you ever type. Make sure you get where you're going.
I got you. Oh, yeah, I got him.
That stupid controller froze again.
You're only saying that because you're losing.
Bet you bought the cheap one.
That controller is junk too. Is this even real?
You're spending less, so...
Yeah? We'll just buy it again?
Smart kids.
Who are you?
Or what are you?
Hey, I was wondering if you guys wanted any... OMG, it's McGruff.
Yes, I am.
He's not my Uncle McGruff, the crime dog. He's an imposter. He's a fake. Oh.
I am McGruff, the crime dog. He is the fake. And so is that controller you're holding. It's gonna break. And that, Pops...
could blow up in your face.
That's right, Scruff. Let's take a bite out of crime together and protect ourselves against fakes. Like him.
Who says you're not the fake?
Dude, you're literally missing an arm.
You are smart kids. You're smart. Buy smart.
Well, fresh off the Four Nations face-off, NHL fans are back to rooting for their favorite teams. Let's put Sports Corner on ice as we start in Elmont, New York, as the Islanders will take on the Stars. Dallas coming in with a good record, 36-18-2. Islanders trying to come back, 25-29-7. We'll start off the face-off. Sam Steele with the goal, and Dallas strikes first early. It's 1-0. Later on, Islanders on the attack. How about Pierre and Gall with the goal? And we're all even at 1. Stars are going to be moving the puck here nicely. Let's take a look at this replay, though, from the top. You kind of see it kind of glided off his stick, and it goes in the back of the net. But check this puck movement out. And it will all end with a Jason Robertson goal. It's 2-1 Dallas. You will hear his name a lot later on. 7 seconds later, however, that's all they needed. 7 seconds for the Islanders to tie it up as Kyle Palmieri scores the goal. We are all even at 2, as that will bring an end to that one. Jason Robertson had a hat trick in that game.
Hattie.
Dallas won the game by the final score of 4-3.
Wow.
So
competitive game.
Yeah, let's take a look at now the Four Nations face-off.
Yes.
The final was on Thursday.
It was.
Canada with the overtime winner, and I mean, gosh, who else would have scored it but Connor McDavid?
I mean, quite frankly, they left him just totally unprotected. I mean, if anyone was going to win it for Canada, it was going to be Connor McDavid. I mean, you can't write a better storybook ending than that. I know I'm a relatively big hockey fan, so I was thrilled to see the Four Nations. I think it's the best all-star event, but I want to know your input as someone who is also a big hockey fan.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you mentioned earlier the fact that Connor McDavid, you couldn't have written it any better. Let me raise you, what if Sidney Crosby would have to nail that?
Yeah,
2010 Olympics in overtime. That would have been poetic 15 years later, but if anyone else, I mean, the best player in the world.
I know all of our Penguins fans were waiting with bated breath, hoping that it was going to be Sid who managed to do it. I know it was the only time that some of us were rooting against Sidney Crosby, but I think that, quite frankly, the NHL has figured out the All-Star game down to a T, because I have never seen so much engagement from people who are hockey fans, who are not hockey fans, who have never watched a game in their life, who are now falling in love with the sport, because, I mean, what unites Americans more than being American and wanting to beat Canada?
Wanting to beat countries like Canada and all that good stuff. But yeah, now that you bring up a good point, because now that the NHL has figured it out, we have 2 leagues out of the 4 major sports. One's pretty good in Major League Baseball, but we got 2 that are in a real pickle in terms of the NFL. And what do you do with the Pro Bowl? It's pretty much flag football now.
It's flag football and occasional, like, obstacle course and Madden and dodgeball.
Oh, yeah, dodgeball. And also the NBA. What do you think either one of those leagues could do?
I mean, I would hypothetically love for NBA to do sort of a Four Nations thing, but quite frankly, I don't think there are enough players from enough different
USA
countries.
Versus the world.
Really, and I think that would be a good idea to do, or quite frankly, just introduce a money incentive. I know these guys are millionaires. I know they have more money than most of us will ever dream about in our lives, but at the end of the day, the only thing that people play harder for than money is for the flag that they wear on the front of their uniform.
And that's a good point.
I don't know how feasible that is. I would say do something like that. Or, random weird idea, have players be coaches. Have LeBron be a coach. Maybe that'll do it.
Coach LeBron and Coach Curry.
That would be
that would really sound the alarms.
Well, speaking of sound the alarm, our very own Eli Washington had some pretty big events happening over this weekend, but let's keep things sports focused. What you got for us, Eli?
What's going on, Liv? Welcome to Sound the Alarm, and it's a new segment where I'll discuss which teams are and are not true contenders and why. This week, we're going to take a look at the New York Knicks. So, I believed the Knicks were a serious threat to come out of the Eastern Conference originally, but at this point in the season, they're beginning to show who they are as a team. So with that being said, I'm off the bandwagon. So after acquiring Mikal Bridges from Brooklyn, the buzz surrounding the Knicks revolved around how great they were going to be defensively. Bridges was brought in to be the solidified wing stopper to pair alongside OG Anunoby and Josh Hart, but it hasn't gone exactly as we thought it would. The Knicks this year are ranked 20th in defensive rating this season, and over their last 10 are ranked second to last. This is the exact opposite of Tom Thibodeau's identity. Since his hiring in 2020, the Knicks have ranked in the top half of the league in defensive rating and peaked at number 3 in 2021. Now, their key ingredient they're missing is their tenacity. New York is used to being known for a tough, physical, and gritty team, and they rediscovered that when Tibbs was brought in. But since then, they seem to have lost it, and I don't believe personally they have the personnel to play that rough and tough brand of basketball. They lost Isaiah Hartenstein in free agency. They traded Julius Randle. Mitchell Robinson has been injured for the entire season, so we aren't even sure how he's going to look when he comes back. Those three guys are what gave plenty of teams fits, and now that you don't have them, the game doesn't get mucked up. The only players that reflect this style of basketball are Josh Hart, Cam Payne, and Precious Achiuwa. Now this season has been offensively skewed, but here's the problem. They are good enough offensively to beat bad teams, but they aren't good enough offensively to beat good teams. Although they're 4th in offensive rating this year, they're 23rd in pace, which means they don't play defense, they don't cause turnovers, and they don't get out in transition. So how are they so efficient on offense this year, you might ask? The answer is this: the Brunson and Cat pick and roll. They're the 3rd highest pick and roll usage pairing in the NBA and are ultra efficient, where they rank in the 99th percentile, scoring 107.3 points per 100 possessions, which is mind-boggling. But here's the biggest issue. They lack an offensive variation. Because they're such a pick and roll heavy team, they don't use other actions to peel off the pick and roll action, nor many other sets. Now, if we look at a team like Boston, where they rank 3rd in offensive rating, yet 26th in pace, similar to the Knicks, their difference is Boston generates looks, clean looks, for the entire team because of their variation in their half-court offensive sets, whereas the Knicks' only other action is either a weak side screen to create a corner 3 or a dribble handoff to get Mikal Bridges a jump shot or Josh Hart downhill. Now, I think that's pretty elementary. Now, come playoff time, I believe teams will let Cat and Jalen Brunson play their 2-man game, and I think that's going to be their downfall. Well-coached teams who are just as talented, such as Cleveland and Boston, will ice out everyone else, and they believe that those two can't generate enough offense to beat them. And I believe, personally, they don't have enough shot creation elsewhere to combat that problem. Now, I do believe they can win a playoff round simply based on talent alone, but the deeper they get into the playoffs, the more they'll get exposed. There are too many inconsistencies all around with this team. So with that being said, I'm going to have to sound the alarm. I'm Elijah Washington. Take care.
Thanks, Eli. I thought it was a purge in here for a second. Just sound the alarm. Anyways, but it may be hard to believe because it doesn't feel like it here in Cleveland, but spring is in the air. When we come back, we give you our spring training analysis.
Solo stage where the player spends most of it being hunted down by Infinite. The weapon that performed the best here was the Drill Wispen. Its ability to...
He finally is like, I get it now. I get it. I have worth because I'm me. Yeah, and I really liked it a lot. Like, I'm not...
What are you staring at? How do you know it's me? No.
Songs, even if they're bad, hundreds and hundreds of them, just to find a good one. Yeah. And then
I've been in this long enough. I feel like I know what I'm doing.
Knowing that you're basically like there and being
with that, but it has a special place in my heart. I grew up watching it so much. Have you guys seen it?
Did you know that children growing up with poor air quality have smaller lungs and higher rates of asthma than children that grow up with good air quality? And unfortunately, poor communities have poor air quality. IQ Air Foundation is working to change this Today, the IQ Air Foundation provides filtration technology to schools with poor air quality through our Clean Air for Kids program. Our goal is to help over 50,000 school children every year breathe over 90% cleaner air indoors, helping to level the playing field, reduce barriers to learning, reduce sick days, and increase test scores. Mitigating poor air quality is key to environmental justice. Help clean air for kids reach more children at IQAirFoundation.org.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, in Major League Baseball, Juan Soto wasted no time settling into his new team. After signing the largest deal in professional sports history, Soto smacked a home run that went 426 feet. But here's the crazy part. It was in his first at-bat. Could this be a sign of things to come for the Mets? Only time will tell. New York will start their regular season March 27th in Houston against the Astros. And here to talk a little bit more baseball is our own Jacob Kraus. Jacob, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So let's kind of start this off here early.
Early.
Spring training, couple days in, early World Series pick.
This might not be very surprising, but I'm going to pick the rematch from last year, Yankees-Dodgers.
Okay.
I just think those two teams are so much more talented than everybody else. I will say I think teams like the Guardians, the Astros, the Phillies, Braves could make some noise and make it interesting, but I just think those two teams are just much more talented.
I mean, certainly with the Dodgers in there. I don't want to say abuse of no salary cap. I won't use those words.
Those are fighting words.
But considering they're certainly using all of their millionaire investors, I don't see how anyone can beat this super team, at least not for a very long time. All right, well, we got to talk about the hometown team. Jacob, how do you think the Guardians are going to do this year?
So I know people are probably have some question marks just because of the rotation and some of the subtractions to the roster, but I do think they'll be okay. I think it might take some time to adjust to new relievers and whatnot, but I think adding Santana back to the roster is a big deal. While he's not the same player he was, he's still a veteran that can, I think, provide a lot of leadership to the young guys on our roster.
Yeah, and taking a grand scheme look at Major League Baseball, who do you think is going to win the MVP in both of the leagues?
So I think in the NL, this might not be surprising, but Shohei Ohtani. I think he's probably the best player in baseball. And then in the AL, I'm going to go with Aaron Judge, of course.
All right.
So yeah,
both of them in the back-to-back. Very nice.
I know we talked about this in the newsroom, kind of an unpopular opinion, but spring training, not my favorite thing. I'll be the one to say it.
Talk about that in chaos.
I'll be the one to say
Talk about that in chaos. Thanks, Jacob. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, after shocking the Thunder at home, the Timberwolves will look to do it again in their first game of the second half. Let's head to the land of 1,000 lakes for the action. Couple of the best guards in the NBA there. You got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander facing off against the Ant-Man. Let's get to it. Jumping out to a quick start. SGA, he drives into the paint, gets a layup, and the foul, finishes this run with a tough layup. That ends a 10-0 run for the Thunder. But the Thunder, they're going to go on their own run. Timberwolves are going to go on the run of 16-2, but make it 19 with an Anthony Edwards step-back three. It is now a one-possession game. 5 ticks in the half. J-Dub from half court. Bang! Look at that. What a way to get the momentum back. I mean, he was so nonchalant about that. I'm impressed. We got a high-scoring game here in Minnesota, and Edwards starts with a hot hand with, count them, 1, 2, 3 threes to start off the second half with. All of these came within 6 minutes, just a hattie of threes. Back and forth we go. Look out below. In comes Isaiah Hartenstein for the big man. Two-hand slam. My goodness, have mercy. But SGA isn't the only three-name wonder cooking tonight. Nickeil Alexander-Walker cannot miss. He knocks down 4 straight jump shots to add 11 to his stat sheet. Thunder answer with a 9-0 run. This was just a game of runs. Back and forth we go. I mean, basketball truly is a game of runs, but this one was capped off with Alex Caruso. That was his 3rd three of the 4th quarter. But let's see one more Shea highlight for the road. He had 37 points, and the cheers of MVP would be ringing out in OKC as they take it 130 to 123.
I'm Evan Schofield, and we continue our trip around the NBA. Take it out west. Lakers and Nuggets, get your seatbelts on. We're back in Denver. It's the tale of that man, Luka Doncic. His teammate LeBron James with Nikola Jokic should be a good one. Game starts with a Luka rebound who chucks it to LeBron James, and he goes alley-oop for the dunk. Watch it again. Perfectly executed. Look at this throw. Looks like these two are getting their rhythm down. And, you know, since we're on the topic of Luka Doncic, it's 29 feet out. Let's see that one more time. There it is. And it might be Groundhog Day, ladies and gentlemen. Luka Doncic, 32 points in the night. He's loving his new home, as you can see right there. Guys, we can't forget about this guy. It's time for the Joker to commit a crime. Nikola Jokic with 12 points on the night, just 2 for 7 on field goals. Down night for him. Denver needing some help. They'll get it with Jamal Murray, bringing the Nuggets within 7. And I'm sure we could all use some more Luka to LeBron clips. So here you go. James and Doncic tag team for the alley-oop, connecting one more time. And even with some help from Aaron Gordon, it's not going to matter here. Lakers are going to end up running away with this one, 123 to 100. History going to be made.
All right, Grizzlies and Cavs Sunday night. Donovan Mitchell is going to have a big evening. We'll pick this up first quarter. Mitchell will just retreat to the corner, knock it down in front of Zach Edey's face. Later on, Cavs up 2. Mitchell inside, this time with an athletic layup over Ja Morant. Take another look. It starts out, comes back in. Quarter winding down in the first. Luke Kennard from distance. It'll be 31-26. Second quarter, Cavs up by a point. DeAndre Hunter, the newest Cavalier, puts it off the glass to make it a 3-point game. Later on, Mitchell, nasty crossover step back tray. Donovan Mitchell, or excuse me, that's a long 2. And Donovan Mitchell was starting to feel it. Jaren Jackson Jr. on the other end here late in the second, ties the game at 56. But with the clock counting down, look at Mitchell. He's like, yeah, I'm actually just going to hit it. And he did! And he did just that. It's a 6-point Cavalier lead at the break. Score remains a 6-point game. How about Ty Jerome coming out and showing up here in this one at Rocket Arena? Jerome the floater, that's good, as Cleveland's up to an 11-point lead, but Memphis not going away. Jaren Jackson Jr. gets it to go. Later on, Morant the layup, as Ja Morant will miss the free throw. But take a look at this great ball movement here from the Cavs. Strus, Mobley, Allen, poster on Ja Morant, and all you can do is laugh about it. And now later, Mitchell going inside. How are ya? Extending that right arm, throwing it down, but Memphis would make this one seemingly to the end. Don't let that final score fool you. Cleveland had to claw their way in that one, 129-123. 33 for Mitchell. Cavs win 7 in a row.
The Miami Heat headed up to chilly Milwaukee in a showdown with the Bucks. Andrew Wiggins has some new threads, but he gets the 3, and he draws the foul for the 4-point play. New team, same tricks. Wiggins throws the hammer down. Heat lead 56-44. Bucks down, but certainly not out. Bounce pass to Damian Lillard, who sinks the deep 3. And AJ Green gets his paws on a steal, passes ahead to Dame, who lobs it up for Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Greek Freak brings it down hard. Kevin Porter Jr. with the rock. He drills the jumper, and we have done it. This game tied at 95, and then Porter lobs it to Jericho Sims to give Milwaukee the lead. And check your watches, ladies and gents, because it's Dame time. He sinks a 3. Now, new teammate Kyle Kuzma, he says, hey, I want in on this 3-ball action, and he drills a tray. And the Bucks, who are down big, take it by a final of 120-113.
What a game, Liv. Well, we're going to head out west. It's a gloomy day in San Francisco, but not for the Warriors. There's Jimmy Butler, his 4th game with the Warriors. Dallas off to a lead, and P.J. Washington, how about that? 3-pointer for him, up 5 now, and here's this. We got Steph Curry guarding here, and that's a 4-foot dunk and slam by Kessler Edwards. 6 points in the day, but he helped out here, and with Dallas trying to gain a lead back. What a steal by Mr. Reliable. Who else but Steph Curry? He's going to pass to Moses Moody. That's a perfect 3. 14 on the night for him. It's time to bring in another big player. Jimmy Butler yet again on the slam dunk, his 4th game. He's back. Don't even have to say anything. Steph Curry, all he does, he hits 3s. He hits it again. Warriors up 8. Still in the first now, and Curry right back at it and drops a nice 30 bomb on the night. Golden State running away with it, and Jimmy Butler's going to track the ball. There it is. Quentin Post with a slam. The 7-foot monster gets some more. How about some garbage time points? Kyrie Irving, can't forget about him, brings it home with a 3. His first of the night. Warriors looking like they got a clear shot to win, and they're laying it on. It's an Irving night in Golden State. He's on fire, ladies and gents. That's a basket. Look at that reaction. And look, here's P.J. Washington performing well, but that bucket's not going to matter. Golden State takes this one home, 126-102.
All right, Evan. Well, we had an eventful NBA weekend. One topic in the league right now, Cavs being the only team to clinch a playoff spot.
Incredible.
Who do you think is coming up next right behind them?
Well, we've seen this team go year after year. Give me the Boston Celtics. They're second in the Eastern Conference behind the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I think they're going to get there with ease, as they always do. Jason Tatum, 7th in points per game in the league. He's on fire this year. There's no doubt about that. He's been special. 29 points per game in his last 5 games. How incredible is that? Jaylen Brown, can't forget about him. He's doing good. And look, the Knicks, it was close. The Knicks almost came back against the Celtics, but Derek White was Mr. Clutch. He came in, made all his three-point attempts in the fourth quarter, and yeah, I think they're going to go good. One more team, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Man, have they been exciting to watch. They have been electric. 10 losses, pretty good. I'm not going to lie, pretty good. They're coming off a dominant win against the Timberwolves. It was pretty sad to see the Timberwolves just fall, but that happens. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, our MVP candidate, probably the MVP that's going to take over this league. He's a big part of why they're where they're at. They're going to make the playoffs easily with him. I don't think they'll have any trouble. They've beat big teams. They beat the Cavaliers a little bit ago, and they're a very exciting team. They're still, he's still first in points per game, 32.3. It's incredible.
Speaking of teams in the West, we saw Luka get his groove back in that game against the Nuggets. Do you think that trend is going to continue?
100%, Liv. 100%. I think the first 3 games, I'll admit, I gave him some slack. I did. 14 points per game. I was like, are they going to use him properly? I don't know. But the game he just had was absolutely incredible. I think him and LeBron are just going to boost that offense more than it's already boosted. They already have a lot of good players on that team. And yeah, they have the Mavs tomorrow. We have a big game. It's the revenge game for Luka Doncic, and I think, I wrote this down specifically, must-see TV. I think everyone should go watch this game. And look, LeBron and Luka, they're going to help each other more as the season goes on. Luka, 32 points in that game he had, so I think that trend's going to continue pretty well.
Real quick, because we have a minute left.
Right.
That game is in LA, by the way. Going back to Cleveland, Cavs playoff rematch against the Magic in Orlando. That series went 7 games in the first round. So what are your expectations for the match?
My expectations, the Cavs are going to win. Yeah. Clearly, they're a very good team this year. I don't think the Magic are going to come close to stopping them. Donovan Mitchell, he had a great game against the Grizzlies. He had a 33 bomb, which is quite impressive, but it's expected for a guy like Donovan Mitchell. They're on a 7-game win streak, which is pretty awesome. Everyone has a part. It's a full team. Donovan Mitchell, Max Struss, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley. It's incredible, but I think they're going to win, and I think they'll do it with ease.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow night. Thanks,
See
Evan.
how that ages.
Yeah.
All right, well, it's almost time for March. That means college basketball is heating up. We have all of the highlights from the weekend action ahead.
Good morning. Hope you all had a good weekend and are ready to be inspired. One quick thing I want to remind you guys to be studying.
Major key alert. Did you just look at your phone while you was in class? You played yourself.
Today we're talking about inspirational quotes.
You want to get that paper? You better turn in that paper and get an A+. That's a major key. Another one. Mogul talk. You want to reach the mountaintop? You got to go hard. To succeed, you have to believe. Stay focused. Fly higher than the eagle. Don't ever play yourself. The key is to make it, so make it.
Louise, can you give me an example of an inspirational quote from recent history?
Don't play yourself. The key is to make it.
And who said that?
I did. Now that's a major key alert.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at getschool.com.
Hi, I'm Leland Melvin, and I traveled to space twice as a NASA astronaut. Space technologies help protect our precious Earth. Space helps us monitor changes in carbon emissions track the pace of climate change. It even helps us fight natural disasters. Make sure that you get out to your local science museum or go to spaceforall.us to explore and learn about space and science. Space is for all.
Illicit fentanyl is the deadliest drug threat that our nation has ever experienced. We lost Leo when he was only 19, killed by fentanyl he didn't even know he was taking. He was my heart, my son.
My grandson. I wish you could have met him. Such a beautiful young man. Kind, smart, funny, sweet, a great kid.
Go to ladrfoundation.org to join us in the fight against fentanyl.
Thank you.
On the 40th anniversary of head coach Bobby Knight throwing a chair onto the floor at Indiana against Purdue, the Hoosiers welcomed in the Boilermakers on Sunday to try and keep their tourney hopes alive. Let's take you to Assembly Hall as the students at Indiana are ready to roll. First half, Indiana up by 3. How about the lob and the jam from Omar Ballo? Take a look at it one more time, the two-handed slam as we go now later in the half. Purdue up 5, Braden Smith, who's having a heck of a year, will pull up from the top of the key and knock it down. A 12-point Boilermaker lead on the road at the break. Second half, Trey Galloway throws it down to cut into that lead a little bit. A great outlet pass, catching it on the dribble, and you know the rest. Off of Malik Renew steal, Anthony Leal with the layup. Lead is cut to 5. Another example of this Indiana team killing you in transition. Little later, 2-point game. How about Renew on the slam? An 8-0 Indiana run has now evened up this ball game between two Hoosier foes. Now, Indiana up 2. How about Miles Rice on the layup, getting it off the glass, 44-40. Hoosiers up 6, Renew and 1. He'll make the free throw to go up 9. Renew scored 1,000 points in his career in this matchup. And with over 3 to go, Galloway lobs it to Bello again, and Indiana now explodes out to a 12-point lead. And now with the Hoosiers later on, around 2:20 to go, up 11. Galloway likes what he sees, and he nails it from deep. Only allowing 21 second-half points are the Hoosiers defensively, and Indiana with a statement win over Purdue, 73-58.
Hello everyone, I'm Maddox Miller, and we are just 4 weeks away from Selection Sunday, so let's see who's building up those resumes as we go campus to campus. Starting off, we got the number 3 ranked Duke Blue Devils taking on Illinois. Cooper Flagg, a superstar in the making, and we're going to see him early as he gets a tough layup up 12-4 in the first half. Illinois trying to keep it close, 21-12, as Kylan Boswell answers with a tough layup of his own here in the first half, 14-21. Duke, though, would begin to pull away up 10. Tyrese Proctor on the inbound for 3, got it, 33-20, 50-31 now here late in the first, and it would be Proctor with a nice pull-up from the mid-range, make it 52-31. We'd go to the second half, 54-37, Illinois. It would be Cooper Flagg with the steal and the breakaway slam. Flagg would finish with 16 on the night, 59-37 now here as Duke is running away with this one as he finds Con Knippel for the nice reverse layup, 61-37. This is a Blue Devil bashing as Duke is beginning to run away with this. Flagg with another nasty dunk, 63-37. It was all Duke. Illinois stood no chance in this one. The Illini seemingly outmatched as Isaiah Evans knocks down this 3 to make it 78-44. And Duke takes this one 110-67 to improve to 24-3 as they prepare for March Madness.
Yeah, we're going to need a mercy rule for that one. Anyways, Missouri looking to keep up their hot streak after taking down Alabama. They now visit Arkansas and the Razorbacks. Tigers start with a missed shot, but the rebound makes its way to Caleb Grill, and he's going to nail the three-point jumper.
Nothing but
Carter Knox soaring down the lane. He finds his way down there for the slam with the alley-oop from Adam Thero. Mark Mitchell, remember that name? He had a game. Tony Perkins lobs it up, and Mitchell gets the slam. Here's another dunk in case you missed the other one. This one from Zvonimir Ivisic after a steal. Big fella getting up and throwing the hammer down. time ticking down in the first, but Marquise Warwick gets the final shot of the half to fall.
Warwick, the
Mizzou
shot,
up
and
7 at the half. Lots of steals here. I don't know if it's sloppy play or just great defense. Farrow takes it all the way to the hoop. This one has been back and forth. Truly competitive SEC matchup. Trent Pierce, he's going to fight his way for the bucket, and Aiden Shaw is there to clean it up with a dunk. DJ Wagner, chest pass to Big Z. I just learned that's his nickname. Isn't that a cool nickname? It's fitting because, whoa, look out.
What a
Here
slam
he
at the
comes.
other end.
Arkansas starting to pull away from here on out, but watch out. There he is with a massive slam. Only 11 points, but those were all highlight plays. The Razorbacks upset Mizzou 92-85, and wow, how the once mighty have fallen. Certainly not what Mizzou wants to see during this last stretch of the season.
I mean, good Lord, just so many plays
So
in
many
that
slams.
one. All right, keeping things in SEC country, Georgia taking on #1 Auburn. Look it up right at the start of the game. Jemai Broom will lay it in off the glass. It's 2-0 Tigers. Later on, Auburn's up by 8, but check out this freshman out of Nigeria in Santos Surreal with the and-one layup. You see the lob and the contact forced him to throw it off the glass. And now we go to the final seconds of the half. Silas Denley Jr. connects from distance. It's 29-24 Tigers at the break. Second half, Auburn will lob it. It's Broom to Dylan Cardwell to get 2 more on the board for Auburn. Now the Tigers are going to go on the outlet pass. How about the soccer overhead throw? And then Broom will capitalize it with the left-handed flush. Now Georgia, down 10 looking for something. How about Asa Newell hitting the 3? It's 50-43 Auburn. And with 6.5 to go, Auburn looking to get something going. It's Broom, thought about the 3, baseline, slam. 62-54 Auburn. And then later, with Georgia making it close, only a 5-point game, the player of the year in college basketball, or arguably, because there's Cooper Flagg showing out, 31 points, 14 boards. It's a career high in points for Jemai Broom. Auburn wins it 82-70 as Bruce Pearl and company remain #1.
Well, I sure do hope you like SEC basketball because we got even more of it as Kentucky travels to take on the #4 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. Alabama gonna get things going in the first as LeBron Phelan lobs it to Clifford Amori for a nasty slam. I think that's 3 straight highlights with a number 11 catching an alley-oop. But it would be Travis Perry, a freshman guard, working his way around with a tough left-handed layup. Kentucky trying to stay this game as Perry would cut it to a single-digit lead, but Alabama would be able to hang on here in the second half as it would be Perry again. He would finish with 12 points on the night with a couple of tough layups trying to jolt this Wildcats offense. They would get it down to 3, and Sears would dish it off to Phelan, who would get a tough and 1 layup to make it 65-60 here in the second. And I'm shocked this is Mark Sears' first bucket as he get the steal in the 3 because he finished with 30 on the night as he would make it 91-71. But we'd get one more highlight of his as he would be dishing it to Chris Youngblood for a deep 3 to make it 94-83. Crimson Tide take this one 96-83.
We're finishing with one more incredibly competitive game with a trip to Kansas where the Jayhawks are hosting Oklahoma State. We start with a little ref cam there. Braden Newman starting hot, extending for the steal, and it's a coast-to-coast score. We are tied at 12. Spoiler alert, it's not going to stay that way for long. Another turnover from Kansas leads to another scoring opportunity. This time Bryce Thompson takes it to the cup. Kansas with good ball movement, making sure they're not turning it over. And it gets to Rylan Griffin. He's going to feed KJ Adams, who gets a 2-hand slam. Now Kansas just starts beating the brakes off of OK State. Hunter Dickinson, the big fella, takes it to the basket to cap off a 10-0 run. Now here's a 7-0 run, capped off by, you guess it, another Dickinson slam. And I mean, at this point, it's not fair. There needs to be a mercy rule because the Jayhawks are just putting up circus shots, having fun against the Cowboys. Look! I mean, they had 5 defenders in the paint, and they were helpless to stop that. Kansas shooting a remarkable 54%, and Flory Badinga gets a 2-second chance dunk. He doesn't quite get it the first time, but he'll get it the second time. One more highlight play for Oklahoma State because I'm such a fan of slam dunks today. Look out below from Jamiron Keller. Dickinson drops 16 points and 11 rebounds, a crisp double-double for him. Kansas wins it 96-64. Believe it or not, that's not the biggest blowout somehow of this block.
I'm so disappointed in you.
This was a rough.
Why
week
did
in
you
the
say that was
basketball.
a competitive game at the top of the highlight, and then we had them go
I
by
didn't mean
30?
to mislead you.
Oh,
I'm
well,
sorry, Matt.
anyway,
I'm
all right.
sorry.
Okay.
Anyways.
Well, the new AP Top 25 came out, and
Yes.
the SEC leads the way with 8 ranked teams. I know you have some opinions that you're going to tell our audience here about the Southeastern Conference this season. Does this make a SEC team the favorite to send a representative to the national championship game?
Well, statistically, yes, but March is a really funny thing. And the SEC has not sent a team to the national championship game since 2014 with Kentucky.
Yeah.
They have not won a national championship with 2012 since Kentucky. So clearly there's some sort of, maybe, does Maddox not like the SEC? But
Maddox hates the SEC. Clip
yes.
that, folks. Put it on Twitter.
It just felt like the same thing with football, where it's like, man, the SEC is so highly ranked, and then you got to the tournament and it was like, and they're gone. Outside of Texas. Texas was the one team to make it a little bit far. Obviously, the odds are high for them. Auburn is appearing to be the best team in the country. Florida's number 3, Tennessee's 5. Alabama is a really good basketball school, it turns out. Getting OU transfer Mark Sears a few years ago is helping them out a lot. I just kind of maybe view it as ranked high in the preseason. You know, they can beat up on each other a little bit, get some resume boosters in there. But at the end of the day, when March rolls around, you're going to see them drop like flies. Almost like it happens at the Big Ten a lot, where they send 6 teams to the March Madness tournament and then 1 team makes the Elite 8. And you're like, what happened? I thought the Big Ten was really good at basketball.
Well, conference tournaments are coming up right around the corner. A lot of focus is going to be on these big Power 5 schools, but who do you like to win their conferences?
So I want to focus on the teams that maybe aren't getting as much recognition. Quick shout out, because I know Gage last week was trying to get them in the conversation a lot. Number 7 ranked St. John's. He's trying to get him in there. Coached by Rick Pitino, 24-4, most likely going to win the Big East. They could make an insane amount of noise in the March Madness tournament. I think they're going to be a really fun team to watch. But they're not who I want to focus on. I want to focus on the non-ranked teams. My first shout out, the VCU Rams, 22-5 coming out of the Atlantic 10. The Atlantic 10, you may be wondering, oh, who comes out of the Atlantic 10? We all remember that Loyola Chicago Cinderella one a few years ago where they went all the way to the Final Four. Same conference as VCU. They have 2 guards averaging 15 points per game and 5 rebounds. So you're getting 10 rebounds from your guards in the starting 5. I think it could be a fun year for them. But also, there's another good team in the Atlantic 10. Very quick shout out to the George Mason Patriots in second place right now.
Okay.
So that
Wow,
conference
George.
tournament could actually be a lot of fun.
The dream is alive.
And then,
sorry, go ahead.
no, we're going deep. High Point Panthers, the High Point Panthers.
Deep in his bag.
25-5 out of the Big South.
High Point stand up.
High Point stand up. They've won 10 in a row. 10 in a row. It's probably one of the hotter winning streaks in the country. They are led by a senior guard from Paris, transferred from UTEP.
France?
Yes, Paris, France. Transferred from UTEP. I don't know if you know Paris, Victor Wembanyama from there.
my gosh.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know French.
Really?
Yeah. I do not know how to pronounce his name, so I'm just going to give it my best shot. Keza Yifa, averaging 15 points per game on 45% shooting.
Sounds right to me.
Transferred from UTEP 2 years ago. Really excited. They also have a sophomore 7-footer. 7-footer sophomore named Jocelyn Bodo, averaging 8.6 and 1.3 blocks
This is a
per
non-name team.
game.
This is
Oh,
a
absolutely. Very exciting team. Obviously, they're not going to break the top 25, but I'm thrilled to see what they will do first in their conference tournament where they're the clear favorites, and then hopefully in March Madness.
Way to put a spotlight on the mid-majors.
Yes.
There.
Good for
Maddox.
you,
Well, thanks.
Maddox.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Alrighty. Well, on the other side of the break, it's our segments. Plus, we ask the cast of Sports Corner here, what is your favorite sports movie?
Go. You feel good about that? No. I'm looking at it right.
And yellow today, feel free to use orange, feel free to use green, feel free whatever you want to do. These are what I have in my refrigerator.
Students, especially those that are in CCI fondly enough, are going to be visiting there quite often. But does their reward program
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made home ownership happen. Homeschooling yourself on loans, beefing up your credit score.
So I'm pre-approved.
You were like, yes! Sorry. Color coding listings, ticking boxes, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. Home sweet home. You aced house hunting. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
I feel like her heartbeat is like same speed as mine. And I think we have this like deep connection, this heart connection in her heart, that there's room for me and Mom. When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer. It's a sensory thing. It's a thing with Asperger's.
She's really good with Anya. I've seen adults react to my daughter when she has meltdowns like she's from a different planet. And this little animal just sat next to my child and was just like, you know, it's gonna be cool. She's my superhero. Good job, kitty cat. When we adopted Lucky, we discovered all the wonderful things that make her unique.
Lucky's a little bit of a lot of things, but mostly she's pure love.
Oh, Portage County, I've missed you so much. And thankfully, I've got a lot of women's sports to get to on an extra special Hoops-filled empowerment. Let's go to professional basketball with some unrivaled updates. Now, I spoke about the one-on-one tournament earlier in this semester, which concluded earlier this month. Nafisa Collier, one of the creators of Unrivaled, won that tournament and the $200,000 grand prize. Now, we're back into the regular season with only 3 weeks till the playoffs, and things are heating up. The Lunar Owls are no longer undefeated, and the Rose are starting to heat up after a very shaky start. Right now, the 4 teams who are slated to make the playoffs are the Lunar Owls, the Vinyl, the Laces, and the Rose. Unrivaled also announced their plans for the end-of-season awards, and guess what? Fans get to give their input on MVP. That's right, you yourself right now can go nominate 3 players to be the inaugural Unrivaled MVP. There will also be awards for Defensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, and first and second team honors. And finally, Sports Business Journal has reported that it is likely that Cleveland will be granted the 16th franchise in the WNBA expansion. Now, nothing is official, but this is a very good sign that the Rockers could be returning to the land in 2028. The Cleveland Rockers played in the W from 1997 to 2003 before dissolving after some ownership issues. But what excites fans the most is that WNBA superstar Caitlin Clark's contract with the Indiana Fever will be up, and she spoke very highly of the city when she spent some time here for the women's Final Four. But I want to talk through my Rockers dream team. Of course, since several of these women are superstars, it's not going to happen with those expansion drafts. But my dream starting 5 for the Cleveland Rockers is Asia Wilson at center, Arike Ogunbowale at shooting guard, and Brianna Stewart at small forward, Nafisa Collier at power forward, and of course, Caitlin Clark at point guard. And this is without some stellar young players who are currently in college, but we're sure to have some exciting hoops in the future. Thank you for spending some time on the hardwood with me. Now let's get chaotic.
You know, if money didn't exist, that could very well happen.
Yeah, if there was no salary cap.
Yeah, all right. Well, for Crawley Chaos, I mean, look, I saw something crazy on Twitter the other day, and frankly, I had to address it in this segment because we showed a lot of sports. We're Sportscorner, for goodness sakes. Great college basketball, great NBA. We had the Four Nations final. And why are people on Twitter that are not related with the league, with teams, tweeting about spring training? Why? Why are we doing this? This is ridiculous. There is no reason why someone sane that enjoys athletics should be worried about how their favorite baseball team does on February 27th. That shouldn't be a thing. What should be a thing is you getting into basketball. Now, I get it. If you are not into hoops, that's fine. But we got to remember, you're not a scout. You're not a coach. You're not a player. This isn't your life on the line. This is just sheer entertainment. You're watching a pastime away. And sure, when we get to March 27th on opening day, it's going to be fantastic because it'll be for real. It'll actually count towards playoff berths and World Series and all that good stuff. But to those on Twitter tweeting about how the Guardians beat up on a team 14-2 or 14-5 against the Angels or whatever, I almost want to be like, how dare you? Because there's so much better stuff going on, and you're worried about who's going to play second base for the Guardians in a month? What are we doing? What are we doing? That's Corral Chaos. So,
I'm
all right.
so happy that we decided to go unscripted this week because your rant, I mean, that was Crespo coffee hour levels of rant. Are you not, so...
I feel better.
So should you feel better?
I feel better that I have a place to address it. So,
we give you, look, welcome to Sports Corner, folks. We give you
Yeah.
a chance to rant about whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like the Packers
Right.
and the Guardians. Anyways.
Heroes of Sports Corner Pass. So,
gonna calm it
favorite
down.
sports movie. That's what we were going
Yes.
to ask our friends that have appeared on the show. And I'm going to start with a twofer. It's a tie. Sorry, can't choose. The Rocky and Creed movies, because
Yeah.
it's such a great franchise.
It is, yeah.
It's like if Star Wars was sports, I don't know. And Remember the Titans. What? Like the
Star Wars is
franchise?
sports?
Because
There are 9 Rocky, actually there might be 9 Rocky and Creed
if you count the Creeds, there are 9.
Okay.
About to be 10. But anyway, how about you? Oh, 8. We just got
There
one
are
right here
8.
that it's 8.
8. Okay, so
how
you were
about that?
close. So it's the same level of franchise. For me, it has to be Field of Dreams. I have a
a good
personal
one.
connection to the movie, and I love it. It's always a feel-good baseball movie.
What's your personal connection?
So my grandfather ran an antique shop, and
Mm-hmm.
all of the antiques that are in the farmhouse scene for Field of Dreams were refinished by my grandfather.
Really?
So my mom often says, if you look very closely, Kevin Costner's butt sat in my dad's chairs. I love you, Mom. I know you're watching. But I love it very much, and it always reminds me of growing up. And I mean, there is no better moment in cinema, and I say this wholeheartedly, no better moment in cinema than when they come through those corn stalks.
That's big talk
There
because there
simply-
are a lot of movies out
Simply
there.
isn't. You're right, there are a lot of
A lot of movies. Well, that's beautiful. That's
Thank
so
you.
nice. I never knew that. 4 years of knowing you.
I
Had
know.
no idea.
And now let's hear whatever the jokers on the couch are going to say.
Yeah, let's start off with old Maddox.
My favorite is Sandlot, but an underrated one is The Replacements.
That's so real.
I've only seen that movie once, and yet it is so burned into my brain, like chunks of it, even though I saw it once in a basement like years ago.
Yeah.
But Sandlot, Replacements.
Nice.
Yeah, well, Matt took it, but I gotta go with Remember the Titans.
Such a great movie.
I was in 5th grade when I first watched that movie. I wasn't really big into football. That movie single-handedly got me into it, like being united as brothers, even though there's, some lost things that go wrong and whatnot. It's just a great movie, but I would love to know where you wanted.
I actually have 4 that are my favorite. I'm going to go with The Sandlot, Miracle on Ice, The Blind Side, and Thunderstruck.
Blind Side. Oh, I love the
Thunderstruck.
Blind
Wow,
Side.
that's
We're going to glaze
holy
over Thunderstruck.
Thunderstruck.
We're going to glaze over Thunderstruck.
Thunderstruck. All right. Eli, what do you have?
So for mine, it is none other than Like Mike.
Oh, that's so good.
So you got a young Bow Wow. He's, like 4'10", orphan. He was pretty hopeless, you would say. But then he just finds these random sneakers, and they just blessed him with talent. So who wouldn't want that to happen to them? So yeah, Like Mike is my favorite. And you see I got the inspiration with the cornrows going on. So.
Attababe. All right. Well, that'll do it for another edition of Sports Corner. Thank you so much for watching.
For updates from us 24/7, head over to kentstater.com and be sure to tune into Overtime right here every Friday at 7 p.m. I'm Liv Sharp.
And I'm Matt Corrali saying wherever the ball flies in the air, the Kent Stater Sports Network will be there. Good night.
Good night.
Hello. Mom, you gotta stop this. I'm in a library, okay? What could happen?
Yeah, stuff happens. 1 in 4 college students end up in the ER. That's why you need Emergency. Everything you need to handle an emergency. Share important info with your family and friends. Feeling unsafe? Help is 1 tap away with Urgent Alert. Upload your insurance card and your medical consent form so your family can speak to medical staff. Download Emergency now while it's still free, before stuff happens.